We found that the soil blocks do better than 6-packs or 4-pack containers traditionally that you buy at a retail outlet for your starts. The reason being is because the seeds, the roots are pretty much contained in the soil block, and particularly vegetables that do not like their roots disturbed, melons and cucumbers in particular, squash, do better because there's a little bit of air. If you look between the soil blocks, there's a little bit of gap between those, and the roots, when they reach the edge of the soil block, tend to stop and not go beyond the soil block itself. So when you transplant that into the soil, they tend to be less disturbed, less shock, and they take right off once they get into the nice warm earth. So that's why we use soil blocks.
This is our soil block maker, and it makes the large blocks, the 1.5 by 1.5 by 2. And when you force the soil in there and compact it, set it in your tray, and then when you squeeze the handle up at the top here, that forces your block out of your block maker and into your tray.
Here's a mini soil block maker. Makes 20 soil blocks at a time. We use this for flower starts, basil starts, really small seed starts. These can be transplanted, these are 1/2-inch cubed. These can be transplanted inside our 1.5 by 1.5 by 2-inch cube blocks without disturbing. So the plant just can take off from that point on. The texture, how lumpy this peat moss is. And we're going to run it through a screen so that it's fine and even. So I filled a 5-gallon bucket up, and we're going to just run it through a screen here real quick. It's a 1/2-inch hardware cloth. And we get out any sticks or lumps, I can. And that's what's left. Okay, we've got 1 bucket of brown peat. This is black peat moss, just a different kind of peat. It's much finer. I don't have to run it through a screen. I've got 5 gallons of each. To sweeten the peat moss, the soil a little bit, we put a 1/2 cup of lime. We mix it in. That is organic compost. We're also adding a 5-gallon bucket to it, to the peat moss. This is perlite, agricultural perlite. Keeps the soil light and fluffy, doesn't compact. You could use coarse sand in its place, but we found that this is much better. I'm making what they call a base fertilizer for our soil block mix. It is a 1 part blood meal, 1 part green sand, and 1 part phosphate rock. We mix that together, and that becomes our base fertilizer, organic fertilizer for our soil block mix. We've added 5 gallons of brown peat moss, we've added 5 gallons of black peat, we've added 5 gallons of organic compost, we've added 5 gallons of perlite, we've added our base fertilizer, and now I'm adding about 5 gallons of water to get the right moisture consistency so the blocks stay together when we press them. Notice as this has been mixed up that this clumps together just a little bit. You can see these clumps are naturally, that means our moisture content is just about the right consistency for making our compressed blocks. Here. I'll put a soil block here next to our pile of soil, and the soil, when it's compressed, needs to be about twice the height as the soil block itself. So if these are about 2 inches tall, the soil needs to be about 4 inches deep to get that pressure. And you can see we get the block maker in the water just to help the blocks come out a little bit easier. There is a formed soil block. It's not compressed so that it's hard. It's just compressed so that it'll stay together. You can see that when we press it, there's a little indentation at the top where my finger is, and that's where we place the seed, and a little bit of vermiculite where the seed actually germinates under the grow lights. We're just filling the trays completely full for the best use of our space on our grow lights, and because they don't dry out that way. And I think there's 88 blocks per tray, and we do about 10 to 12 trays per wheelbarrow full when we mix our soil block mix up. So that's around 1,000 blocks that we do at a time. And we recommend when making soil blocks that you use gloves just for your own hand protection.
We cover the blocks with plastic until we're ready to plant in them to keep the moisture content. Here's lettuce. It was planted 5 days ago. You can see the vermiculite in the holes made by the block maker.